You may kill me, but you may never insult me. Who am I? Captain Jack Sparrow.
Get the truth about movies on the movie show.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Tell them, Sparrow.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if you told it to him.
Hello?
Joey, it's Ross. I need some help.
Help has come your way because you are listening to the movie show.
What is up?
What's happening?
Hey.
This is the movie show
On Active FM.
with me, Sash.
And
Timothy.
and
Ryan! Yeah!
and we have an exciting show. You know why? Because we've gone back and we've received... No, we haven't received. We're talking something controversial, yes?
Yeah?
We've spoken about this movie before, so no, this is not a repeat. But, yeah.
We're going back
Yes.
to Tenet.
Exactly, because I was very surprised because when we first spoke about the show, we were like, what an amazing show. And by the way, the movie, and I still think it's a really cool movie. But there are a lot of people saying other stuff. And so I was like, they must be heard.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
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 Yeah. So, okay, what we're doing the show on is Tenet was directed by Christopher Nolan. If you don't know who that is, now you do. He's a director. And he directed a movie called Tenet. But he's also directed other films. Funnily enough, he hasn't... So, like, a lot... If you look at a lot of directors, they've directed around, like, 13 films, 19 films, 22... Like, you know... They've got like a certain sum, yeah. Whereas Christopher Nolan doesn't actually have a lot of films, and he doesn't do side projects. So he doesn't
writes his own stuff, isn't
he? Writes his own stuff, but he doesn't do side TV shows. He doesn't do side commercials. He doesn't do side projects. He literally only does the films that he does, which is unique to him because often directors will go and do like other things in between, you know, in their spare time or whatever, but he doesn't. But Tenet is his latest film. It came out in 2020. I was super excited for it. I think I just built myself up for it. I was like super hyped. So when it came out, I was like, yeah!
Wasn't it the first film that came back into theaters?
Yes, it was the first film we watched.
Right.
Like post-COVID.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, post-lockdown.
So, and for me, I enjoyed it. Afterwards, though, someone came to me and they were like, so what happened in that part? And I literally was like, wait, what? Well, what actually did happen in that part? Like, I actually couldn't answer them. It was the first time I've ever experienced that when watching a movie.
Yeah.
And then we went on YouTube, as everyone does, and went and watched Tenet Explained.
In like 10 minutes, yeah.
And then you learn and you're like, oh, that makes more sense. During December, I gave myself the challenge of watching Tenet 10 times.
Did you do it?
I watched it 8 times.
Oh my goodness, Ryan.
And every time I watched it, it made more sense. Now, this seems to be everybody's experience. They watched for the first time, and then you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And people are even like sitting there going, what's going on? Like, what exactly is going on? Most of the reviews that I watched, so I think I got about three reviews here, and there were certain things that really stuck out that seemed to be the same thing, the same sort of thing throughout all of them. And the first half, they don't know what the heck's going on. The second half is like really cool.
Yeah.
That's about it. And all of them said the same thing. They said, Christopher Nolan is a man of mystery. He likes to keep things from you, and then he answers it as the movie goes along. And not only that, but he doesn't have to play by the rules. He's a guy who can just do whatever he wants and get away with that type of thing. So that's exact. And also, he's a guy that is obsessed with time. But the way that he did this,
or whatever,
the way that he did this film, I mean, okay, here's a good explanation of Tenet. It's a movie where some people go forward and other people are going back at the same time, and then they fight. Going backwards and going forward at the same time. Now think about that. Who wouldn't want to watch that film?
Right?
I'm like, that sounds cool. Yeah.
But there's that... Are we saying that's all there is to the film?
No, not at all. You see, we did this thing called Pixar in a Box.
Yeah.
And in the beginning is my favorite part, not because you have to they teach you about character development, and then they make you sort of create your own character, and then you pick three of your most favorite movies. Okay, if you had to go to an island and you could pick any 3 movies, and you're going to be stuck there with these 3 movies, which one would it be? And my first one was Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
My second one was Inception. And the third one was The Matrix.
Which one?
All of them.
No.
You have to pick 3 movies, not a whole like trilogy there.
All of them. Every single one of them.
Wow.
And the reason, and one of my most common reasons why I liked Inception and why I liked Tenet is because there's more to it than watching it the first time. It's pretty complex. So you can sit there, you try and work things out. You're like, what? And then, and it's entertaining.
That's impressive, though, that 2 Christopher Nolan films made it onto your list out of 3 films.
Yeah.
Inception was my top.
Yeah.
I loved Inception. Yeah.
So when I did research on Christopher Nolan, right? So, and I agree with this. He was saying in an interview that what he likes to do is he feels that every time you watch a movie, the experience should be different. Right? That's his philosophy. So for him, he's saying that when you watch it the first time, because when movies first came out, people went to watch them in theater, and that was it. Like, you didn't have DVD players, VHS, TV, nothing. You went to this, like when it first came out. Obviously, as time has progressed now, you go watch it in theater, then it comes out on satellite TV, then you can buy the DVD, the Blu-ray. Now it goes onto streaming sites, etc., etc. So you're watching a movie. Generally, you watch a movie more than once. Generally, not every film, but you do tend to watch movies more than once.
The really good ones, people watch again.
Exactly.
Their favorite film.
And he's saying that what he wants is he layers the film so that every time you watch his film, you get a different experience.
Damn.
Which he does.
Wait a minute. Now that you said that, I'm like, that is genius.
Yes.
Like, that's...
So
how do you do that?
I'll give you an example, right? I watched Dunkirk when it first came out. I wanted to watch it. I was excited. I was like, yeah, woo! And then watched it and I didn't get it. I was like, I'm so confused.
With Dunkirk.
What happened in this movie? Because what he does, Dunkirk's not the worst though. He hasn't, worst I mean like most confusing film.
Yeah.
But what he does with Dunkirk is he tells the story of Dunkirk, which was when 300,000 soldiers were stuck on a French beach. The Germans were closing in. They couldn't get to Britain, even though they could see Britain because it was literally across the channel. But he tells the story. He takes the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story, and he tells it all at once. So he follows the perspective of a soldier on the actual beach. Then he follows the perspective of civilians that are going to fetch soldiers because they ask civilians to use their fishing boats or whatever to help them get the soldiers. And then the third perspective is of a fighter pilot in the air 1 hour before the final events of the film. But he tells each story at the same time. Right? I don't know if this makes sense, but it means that sometimes you're like, wait, I don't understand what's happening because that guy was there and now he's... But watching it, so the first time I watched it, I was like, I'm so confused. The second time I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, I think I've sort of gotten this. Third time I watched it, I was like, this is brilliant. This is just... Because literally what he did, it was like he wrote the script and then he picked it up and then he ordered it, but in the way that he ordered it, it still tells the story well. So it's not just about like confusing the audience. He tells it to raise suspense. So for example, in one part of the film, the 2 characters at different times, completely different times, are both in a situation where they could drown. Right? But now it's completely different times. But he chooses to show those 2 scenes at the same time, which obviously now raises suspense because now you're watching this dude drowning and then you're watching this dude drowning and now you're like, ah! Do you get? And he keeps jumping across. But the first guy was drowning, let's say for instance, 30 minutes before the end of the film. The other guy was drowning 3 days before the end of the film, but yet he showed it at... Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just the way he told the story was brilliant. You didn't get it the first time. Which maybe for some people they're like, but I want to watch a movie once and be like, yay, cool. But watching it a third time, honestly, I was just like, this is mind blowing. Like, this is actually crazy. And I think one of the reasons he also does it is because he studied English literature. That's how he met his wife. And then they went and started a production company together. Her name's Emma Thomas, and she often produces the films. So Dunkirk, it was directed and written by Christopher Nolan, produced by Emma Thomas. So I think the English literature has something to do with that.
But I feel like that makes more sense than Tenet, because I don't think Tenet had any other role than to confuse people. I feel like that was it. I feel like that was the end goal.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, personally, best Christopher Nolan film, I don't think it's Tenet. There were very cool moments in it. I loved the backward soundtrack. I think that was my favorite part of the whole movie. Literally, when that happened, I was finished. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so cool.
You see, the thing that I enjoyed, again, coming back to the type of films I enjoy, is when there's something more to it. Yeah, and so like, I had the same experience. I'm listening, and the first thing now you see, I don't listen to music like that much, but then I heard the backwards music.
Yeah, and
I'm like, I think I still messaged you. I'm like, the music's backwards. I'm like, it was, but yeah, definitely confusing.
But that's what I get. So I respect that film because it was so cinematography great and the music was good and stuff like that. But as a movie itself, I don't feel like it was good in nearly any sense. As a script, or taking it from the movie as a whole, apart from what he's achieved cinema-wise, I don't think it was great at all. Because I feel like if you watch a movie and then you have to go watch a 10-minute explain how Tenet was straight after it,
I suppose
is that really good enough?
You don't normally have to do that.
So I think from a movie point of view, definitely not. Definitely not. Because definitely. I mean, who? What? Comment below. Who was not confused the first time? I remember watching Tenet, and I was just like, I don't understand. Ryan, just go with it. Let's just watch. And I remember getting to the end, and I was just like, okay, okay,
wow.
definitely, yeah.
But don't you also think then that makes it worse because of when it was released? If this was the movie that was supposed to bring everybody back into the cinemas, and you're literally confusing everybody, that just makes life so much worse.
Movies don't make sense.
And
it's over.
Cinemas actually dropped after that because people were keen to see this movie, and now they were just disappointed. I'm not even joking.
So you were disappointed?
Yeah.
I personally wasn't disappointed, but I didn't think about it. I almost just was like, that was really cool. I enjoyed the backwards music. I enjoyed the backwards fighting.
I was like, I have to go see that again.
But it's because Nolan's also one of my best directors. Like, I love that guy to bits. I love the Batman trilogy. I love Inception. I love Interstellar. Like, great movies. Yeah. And then he comes out with this, and I'm like, dude, what did you do?
Honestly, I think I like Dunkirk more than Tenet. I honestly would say go watch. I would. If you were to ask me, I'd say watch Dunkirk. Don't watch Tenet, because not that Tenet wasn't bad. It wasn't. We have a theory on the movie show. So we've said what makes a movie good. Like what is it that actually makes a movie good? And what we came up with is your CG can be good. We've watched movies that have brilliant CG, but the storyline. Do you remember that one? Oh my goodness, the storyline was like. What is... I don't even remember the name of that movie. Don't even remember the storyline. Just remember it was bad. And then obviously you've got good acting or you have bad acting. Like, does that ruin a movie? You've got like what makes a good film? But we came down to, at the end of the day, it's the story. If the story's good, chances are your movie's going to be good.
Yeah.
Because the story applies to every audience.
Yeah.
So this movie, I think, applies to a specific group of people who are film lovers, who are cinematography lovers, stuff like that. If you're not part of that group, which applies to 90% of people out there,
then you're like,
what am I doing here?
Yeah.
There was a guy that did a review. His name is Chris Stuckman. So everything that I've said before basically is what he said, but something that he said, which I think is relating to what you're saying, Timothy, is that it's emotionally distant.
Yes.
Even if you look at the characters, even the protagonist, he doesn't even have a name.
Yes.
He's the protagonist. The other thing is that he's more like an object. He's not really like a person. And it's a very plot-heavy film. More about plots than emotion, than any stories. And,
I feel like, though, that could be a Christopher Nolan trait.
Oh, yeah.
Reason I'm saying that is because Dunkirk is sort of the same. With Dunkirk, you honestly, I can't tell you names of characters except for the one guy, George, but that's because his name is said a couple of times in the film. Otherwise, I can't. And George isn't a main character. He's not one of the main characters. Yeah. He's there, but he's not one of the main characters. I can't tell you the name of most of the characters in that film. Not because I think they did have. I mean, the protagonist didn't have a name. He literally is called the protagonist. So I think it's his way of telling a story. Yeah. Because With Dunkirk, you'd think you don't connect to it emotionally because, okay, I suppose Tenet, maybe they didn't get this right, where you don't connect with it on like an emotional level.
No, you don't know anybody.
Dunkirk,
really.
you do. I found I did connect with
But
it.
with Tenet, the only person that you emotionally got attached to was
Robert Pattinson.
Yes, that's
Yes. And he carried then the whole film
That's it.
after that.
Yeah.
After you got emotionally attached to him, that was it.
Nice guy. He's got this good smile. He's like, oh, you see him, what they say, he's, the kid.
Yeah,
know.
he's the
so
son.
it's all like, and you at the end, and then they have that conversation, and
then he dies. And you're like, ah!
yeah, and then so that's about it. But and I remember when we spoke about the Tenet, something with the protagonist that I found. I don't know if you remember, Sashi, I had a problem with his dialogue, the way that he spoke.
You
But
still said his acting wasn't great.
it
Something
felt,
long.
It felt,
Yes.
and this made sense. Because he's not supposed to be. There's nothing. He's an object. There's nothing emotional about
he
him.
definitely.
So it made a lot
Yeah.
of sense. And I watched half of it last night, and I don't know why. I was just like, I got the film. I got it. I clicked. I was just sitting there. I was just like, yeah. I do. Because remember, I'd watched it 7 times before, and I promise you, I even had my notebook. I don't know if this is the same notebook. I was sitting there, even drawing the timeline, and because like there's the one scene I'm trying to figure out. Why is that person there? But now if they're supposed to be there, and then I had to draw, then I had to figure it out. And something that this film doesn't have is it doesn't have any closure at all. Where Inception, like the end was just like, bah, closure. Like they're walking out the airport, they accomplished this whole out. It was beautiful.
It was amazing.
It was, exactly. And you like that character involved. They don't even know. And then there's that guy. He was asleep, but meanwhile, and they did this whole thing, and it was in another world. But they like and you're just like, wow. There was a Tenet. You just like it ended, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to YouTube. I need to find out.
That's
exactly
another
what's
thing he
going
does,
on.
though. He likes ending his films on like a
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a second one? No. Oh, okay. Like he almost leaves the audience to decide.
Yeah.
Like with Inception, were they still in the dream or weren't they in the dream? Like.
But I actually watched this with my dad and my brother, and we were walking out of the cinema wondering if there was going to be a second Tenet.
One, yeah.
And then we decided it would probably be better if he didn't make a second one, but at the same time, the audience would prefer it.
Yeah.
So,
but I feel like I think he has traits, and he's just like, I'm doing my thing, I'm making the movie the way I want to make it, and this is what you're going to get. Whether you like it or not, that's fine. Do you get what I'm saying? And the reason I'm saying that is also in his interview, he said, as a filmmaker, if you want to make it in the industry, you have to bring something that no one else is doing. Because why would they want to see your film when they can just go watch another film that's exactly the same? Do you understand what I'm saying? So he was saying you have to bring something that no one else is doing, and you've just got to stick to your guns. So like if you decide you're going to do that and that's your style, then you just like go with it, which I must agree with, because if you look at all the directors I like, they all have something specific that they do. Like for example, Tim Burton. You can see a Tim Burton film. You can see a Guy Ritchie film. You can just see it. You're like, this, like we still watched the trailer and we were like, oh, is this directed by Guy Ritchie?
Yeah.
And he was a producer, so he didn't direct, but you could see his involvement in the film.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Like, I think that's something that as a director you need to have. So that people are like,
He's definitely leaving a mark. His movies are like, yeah.
Do you know that his next film is already, he's already said what his next film is, when it's coming out, and who's playing the main character?
What?
Please tell me.
So he's working on a World War II movie about Robert Oppenheimer, who is the man responsible for creating the atomic bomb. And it is coming out on the 21st of July, 2023. Warner Brothers, I think, is the company that's... No, is it Warner Brothers? Can't remember. So he's got the production company, and the person that's playing Oppenheimer is Cillian Murphy.
Oof, that's going to be very...
They invented the
very
what?
keen for that.
The atomic bomb.
Oh my goodness.
But I saw a funny meme on Instagram, because Christopher Nolan is not into CG. Like he's like, let's do it, or otherwise let's not do it. So
Which I think is a flaw, actually.
For real? No, I like
because
that.
he could have pulled off Tenet with CG and probably done the exact same thing with minimal effort. So I feel like all the effort he put in, I mean, I respect him for doing it, because you're like, this is better because he pulled it off naturally.
Yeah.
But he could have done it possibly even better with like the use of CG and stuff like that.
Well, let's think about that. Whether they did it with CG or without CG would have had the same effect. So it's almost like, okay, why didn't you just? But look, I suppose it's a preference thing
Yeah.
that he does. Yeah.
That's that whole thing of.
I don't
he's
know if
just
that's
gonna-
like a side note for the film, whatever, the CG artists, whatever. We did this without CG. Ha!
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
Like, okay,
Well
cool.
done.
amazing.
You
Yeah.
did great stuff.
But I
Yeah.
mean, the fighting backwards is
No, that was it
that's
was.
impressive.
But back to the no CG thing. So then you see someone saying, "Oh, that's cool, CG, right?" And then you see his face, and they're like, "Wait, right? Doing CG, right? Because obviously it's an atomic bomb. So now it's
yes.
like, wait, please don't tell me you're gonna blow up half the world just to make a movie."
Yeah.
But that, I personally am looking forward to that. Honestly, I think that's.
I don't know anymore. I'm not convinced. After Tenet, I was like, Christopher Nolan, do you still have your touch?
But Cillian Murphy's there, and you know,
Okay,
we all
yes.
have
Then I'm
Cillian
fine.
Murphy,
Okay,
so-
cool.
So we'll go see it for.
Yeah. Has Cillian Murphy played like a lead role in a Christopher Nolan film? I don't think he's obviously I mean, Cillian Murphy's, he was in the Batman.
Yeah.
Was he in all three?
He was in Inception.
Yes,
the Batman.
Inception. Dunkirk he was in.
Okay.
Interstellar he wasn't.
No.
And Tenet he wasn't.
No.
And The Prestige he wasn't. Yeah.
But even Tenet didn't have a lot of big actors in it. Robert Pattinson was like the one big actor I felt was in there.
And then obviously,
Yeah, but he was in for a short while.
what is his name? Michael
don't-
Caine.
yes, Michael
Caine
Caine.
was in it. No, and Kenneth Branagh. No, Kenneth Branagh is huge. That guy is brilliant. That guy was in Tenet as well. He was the villain.
Okay, yes,
That
but
guy is crazy.
both of their screen time was very minimal.
Yeah. Can I give you an interesting fact about Kenneth Branagh? Ryan, I told you already because I was just too excited to keep it to myself. Kenneth Branagh directed the first Thor movie.
No way.
And he was the one that hired Tom Hiddleston as Loki.
That was a good move.
So it's
Right?
his fault that Tom Hiddleston is
Yeah,
Loki.
So Tom Hiddleston is Loki today because of Kenneth Branagh.
Although, have you noticed how weird it is that Tom Hiddleston is one of the few villains that they've made into a nice
Yeah.
guy now? I don't know how they did it. I feel like it was mainly because of the fan base being like, oh, we love
Yes,
Loki.
it
He's such
was.
a bad boy. Like, oh my
It
word.
literally was.
And then they were like,
People-
when you change this up.
They were shocked by how people responded to Loki
Loki.
as when Tom Hiddleston played him.
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, we've got to
Revive him
do
somehow.
something, yeah. So, yeah. But thanks to Kenneth Branagh, we have him. He, for me, Kenneth Branagh is a very good actor.
Yeah,
he
he's
was
brilliant.
in Dunkirk, and you wouldn't say it's the same guy. Like, okay, now I know it's the same guy, but I wouldn't have said it was the same guy because when he acts, he acts the character. Do you get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, it's not like, oh, yeah, look, there's so and so. You almost like don't realize it's him. And for me, that makes him a good actor.
Which other movies has he acted in?
He directed and acted in Murder on the Orient Express. He was the detective.
Oh, yes.
You see, you don't
I did
know.
not see that.
You don't know. You're just like, what?
And I'm very keen for the next one.
Yes.
Isn't it Murder on the
Nile?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which he also is directing and reprising his role. I think he's
Oh,
the only.
nice.
Oh no, him and his friend, that guy. You know, he had that guy that owned was working
Yes.
on the train.
He owned the train,
Yes.
I think.
those are the only two actors that are reprising their roles.
Did you say that he was in Dunkirk?
Yeah, he's the general. You see, you don't know.
Okay, but I did see that in the trailer, and I did know it was him.
Did you know? Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know it was him. I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
So
Yeah.
tonight I'm gonna go watch Dunkirk.
No, Dunkirk is brilliant. Dunkirk and the actors in Dunkirk are brilliant
Yeah.
as well. Like all around, they are the performances in Dunkirk are crazy. That movie is brilliant. I
I'm
would
gonna go
honestly. This is a hectic. Personally, okay, I need to go watch Inception again.
And watch the Batman trilogy,
And watch
please.
I do.
Because I still view that as the best Christopher Nolan piece of work ever.
I'm guessing you see
Did he
Inception.
did he do more than one Batman movie?
He did
Yeah,
all
there's three of them.
There's only two people in the whole world
Which
ever.
Batmans?
The Batman Begins.
Yeah. Yes.
Batman. It's Batman Begins.
The Dark Knight.
Rises.
And no, it's first Dark Knight, then Dark Knight Rises.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I saw the Dark Knight Rises, but I was very.
But it's
young.
good that you forgot it because
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Rises ties very deeply into 1 and 2. 1 and 2 don't link as much with each other, but then the third one ties them together
Yeah.
so well.
But Christopher Nolan, and then the director, I don't know his name, the director of the original Spider-Man series, are the only two directors who have made 3 movies with a DC comic character. Okay,
Spider-Man's
obviously,
Marvel,
okay,
though.
yeah, that now, but like post Spider-Man.
Okay.
I mean, pre-Spider-Man, as in later Spider-Man.
Okay.
Obviously, No Way Home now will be the third, so now it's been done a third time. But originally, so it was Spider-Man and then Batman Begins. It's the first time, not DC, sorry, comic
yeah,
comic
comic.
character.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And they weren't, I don't think they were originally going to make 3. It wasn't like they were like, let's make 3 Batman movies. They made the first one, and then based on the reaction, they then decided.
But at the end of the first one, you do see them talking about the Joker, which is the second one. So I actually have a feeling they were going to do 3.
They were going to
If not 3, they were going to do 2.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah.
I suppose what they do with movies is they always like say, let's leave it here so that if we want to make a second one, we can, like depending on how audiences respond to it. And then if they don't really like, it's not really that big of a hit, then we can just like be like, no, we were always planning on ending it there, type of thing.
So what happened with Inception?
No, that one I
But
think
that needs to stand alone. You can't add on to that.
We're not doing it. We're not.
Although, fun theory, they have tied Inception to the end of the third Batman. So they have thought that the end of the third Batman might have happened linked to Inception. I can't say any more without spoiling, but yeah, go watch it and
They
you'll see
do
what
say
I mean.
that Christopher Nolan's created a cinematic universe.
Of his own.
Of his own.
What?
Which is so cool. Imagine all the movies. That's brilliant. I'm sorry. That is like...
How do you do that?
That is so cool. So you like tie everything up at the end of your life. You're like, that's my gift to the world. My cinematic universe.
Was the main character from Inception, was he called Jack? Was he Jack?
I feel like I don't know.
It's not Jack. I'm thinking
Jack's Titanic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Titanic.
Like, that's really weird.
Same face,
was...
different movie.
What was his name?
Comment below.
Is Inception your favorite Christopher Nolan film?
It's between Tenet and Tenet.
Oh, okay.
I like the complexity of
Tenet.
But let's clarify, you like Tenet not because of the storyline.
The complexity, definitely.
You liked being confused.
I don't care about the fact that they had to steal the stuff.
Okay,
and the girl and the guy and all the just the way
it was made.
Nobody's done like backwards like that.
Yes.
That's some stuff right there. That's crazy.
Yeah, then you're part of the 10% of the world's population that all like it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Look, Dunkirk, honestly, I don't know how many people would like it. Personally, like, I think you guys will like it.
Yeah, I'll probably like it.
Yeah,
I think my dad saw it and he was like, you need to see this.
It's a good film, but it's not an easy watch. I think that's what Christopher Nolan does. He doesn't make like feel good movies. Like, you know how you get like...
I think the Batman trilogy does have a feel-good aspect, and Inception has a feel-good aspect at the end.
But it's not as in feel-good as in like you can just sit down and like stare at the screen and be entertained. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's no thinking. You're just like mindlessly taking it in.
Watch the trilogy and then rethink about that statement. Because I think that you can watch the trilogy, either just sit there and be like, cool. But if you actually watch it with like in-depth thoughts, you'll see how many more layers there is to it. So I feel like he pulls the same thing there, but on a nicer level. So he covers the whole spectrum.
Maybe he's just gotten like too deep.
I think so.
Maybe he's just like entered a new stage of like filmmaking. And we're like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, we're in this stage now. I don't know. I'm just... Because one thing with Christopher Nolan, he is, and
I feel like he sits in the corner of his room and knocks his head
in like a dark room though. And he's like,
but you know that he watches even the era of film where there was no sound. He watches and studies those film directors and sees how they. So do you get? He's not just like he's not in it for the money. He's definitely not in it for the money. He's in it for the art and
an artist. So I wonder what his next trick is. Well, I suppose.
Hopefully it's not blowing up the world because he's doing a movie on the atomic bomb. Maybe that was his plan the whole time. I will blow up the world while everyone watches.
Yeah, he's a super villain hiding behind a film creator. Imagine how many fake atomic bombs he can order for sets.
Like, oops, we just blew up the whole of Australia, so we're going to have to change our filming location to Europe to take 2.
This is how Total Recall starts, actually. Yeah. There's only going to be London and Australia left, and then the rest of the world's going to be blown up.
And you know, one of his favorite films is Blade Runner. So maybe, because wasn't that like end of the world?
That is very,
I think we're onto something.
They don't have trees. There's no trees in Blade Runner.
Why are there no trees?
No. But he definitely is a cool guy. Do you know that his first film, his budget for it was, I think, $8 million, and it was drawn from his own savings. he
Sure.
covered the cost of his first film.
Where does someone pick up $8 million? That's the real question.
Right, that is true. Right?
Big savings.
And then apparently they said he went and made Batman because he needed to get the funds for Inception. So the reason he actually went and made Batman was because he wanted to make Inception.
So Inception obviously cost more than Batman. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could have just made Inception.
Yeah. But Inception definitely, like... No, he's into... Think about, like, he doesn't have a lot of films, but the films that he makes...
Actually, there's a short film on YouTube you should go look at. I think it's actually the first short film he ever made. And it also does the whole like layers thing to it. And you see it right at the end. It's only like 2-3 minutes long, I think.
Definitely.
I think it's called The Cockroach or The Bug or something like that.
I've heard about it as well. I haven't watched it. We need to watch it.
But it's basically a camera that's following this guy who's running around his room trying to jump and like hit this cockroach all over the floor. You like hear it scuttling and then he jumps and like doosh, and then you hear it scuttling somewhere else and then he jumps and does it again. And then the ending comes and you're like, oh my word, this is crazy. I'm not going to spoil it because it's but go watch it.
Experience.
It is next level.
See, he was doing it for
And it will only take 5 minutes of your life. Problem solved.
Good 5 minutes.
You can watch Tenet. You watch it 10 times. Yeah, I've watched it a couple times. Although you don't have to. You get it the first time.
The first time.
But it's still mind-blowing stuff.
I think though that's it's the layers thing. He wants every time. Okay, that I don't know about that one, but he wants every time you watch it that. But maybe Tenet. Maybe he was just in too deep and.
Although at the same time, I understand his whole layers thing. Although I feel like what Guy Ritchie did with The Gentleman in how he created layers, but going in basically a chronological order, that made so much greater impact than this whole time jumping thing.
I think one of the things Christopher Nolan likes doing is he likes not telling the story in chronological order. So it's his thing. Like I remember even in school doing English and film study, and they said you can tell a story chronological order or you can tell it different. And I was like, what? How the hell do you do that? And then they said like The Prestige. And that's what made me want to go watch The Prestige, was because of how they also did that. They were telling the beginning, the middle, at the end at the same time. And then only at the end of the movie are you like, oh, that's what was going on. But it might be hard on an audience. Do you get what I'm saying?
And it's good that you didn't do that for Inception, because Inception followed a chronological order for the most part. The opening scene was obviously not chronological, but if he did muck up with time, then that would have been an issue.
Yeah. So I need to go watch the Batman series.
Please do.
In order to choose my favorite Christopher Nolan film. At the moment, I think it's Dunkirk.
Coming next on Active FM. Batman Begins.
Oh, there we go. And
Nice.
then the Dark Knight. And then we'll do 3 weeks. That's what I'm saying.
And then we'll do what?
3 weeks. There's 3 movies.
There you go.
There we go.
You can watch it with us.
And then we'll decide.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are we deciding?
What our favorite Christopher Nolan
Ah,
film
there
is.
you go.
And then which is our favorite
Oh,
of the
wait, but
trilogy?
you guys have to watch
I have
Dunkirk.
to watch that, yeah.
You
I
must
have
watch
to
it
see
again.
Dunkirk.
I want to watch it again.
And then I need to watch Inception again, because honestly... And then Interstellar, we can just go watch a 10-minute YouTube video.
But we've all actually seen it, though. We've just forgotten,
Yeah.
right? Okay, cool.
Soundtracks, though, that guy... One of the things I respect about Christopher Nolan is his soundtracks, because what most people do is they'll cut a scene and they call it a temp soundtrack. So they'll put in another movie soundtrack just to like get the emotion.
Yeah.
And then what they'll say to their composer is go make something like that, but a little bit different. And he says... The point is you're not going to get what you want because you've just told them, you've given them what you want, but you're telling them to make something different. So that's your first problem.
You're not going to get
what
you
he
want.
does is he discusses with the composer before the edit and says, this is what I'm going for, this is what we need to do. And then he edits to the music that he gets.
I'm pretty sure he got Hans Zimmer to do it for him, though, didn't he? And he's a great composer as far as anything goes.
He's worked with Hans Zimmer and he's worked with James Howard Newton
Yes.
And there's another composer he mentioned. Yeah, but he works with Hans Zimmer a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Hans Zimmer was Dunkirk. It was he did Inception
And Interstellar.
and Interstellar.
I really
yes.
got to start paying more attention to the music.
Actually, no. You need to follow this one thing called Cinema Loving or Cinema something on Instagram. They have a great film page and they do a lot of the composers and
There you go.
go check it out. This is where I get all my knowledge from, people. Life hack.
Right, okay,
Instagram,
Yeah.
one-on-one.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's what we're going to do. Okay, at this current moment, your favorite Christopher Nolan film,
Dark Knight Rises.
right?
Don't say Tenet. Say Inception. Take one for the team.
Oh my goodness, this is such a hard decision to make.
Tenants.
Okay.
I have to because it's just really is up till this day. I'm just so
Right.
gripped me.
I'm going with Dunkirk at this present moment.
Wow, nobody said Inception. That is actually really intense. Okay, cool.
And Inception was the main character's name was Cobb.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Maybe I need to. I don't know.
I have a feeling though that his next film is going to be my favorite, just because I like Cillian Murphy as an actor. So I feel like it's already got an up on all the rest of them just because of the main actor.
Cillian Murphy's in The Dark Knight.
I know he's in
So,
the Dark Knight,
go check him
but
out.
he's not the main character. He's not.
Yeah, but he's okay. No, he is the main-ish villain in the first one. So technically, his main character vibes up there. Yeah,
So there we go. I might change it to Batman Begins.
cool.
Yeah.
I'll only know when I watch it.
But this has been the movie show,
On Active FM.
and we are now signing out.
That's it. We need to go and hunt a couple movies down.
Right.
Yeah. I'm looking forward. I'm like, let's get home, finish work,
And watch.
and let it begin.
Let it begin. Let Batman begin. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
definitely. Definitely.
So this is us.
Signing out.
At Active FM.
Cheers.
Like what you're listening to? Follow us on Gab and Twitter at ActiveFM.
Instagram at ActiveFM777 and Facebook at /ActiveFM.